This is the Transforming Anxiety podcast with Kelly Hanlon McCormick, and today is episode number 191, The Foundation of You. Welcome to Transforming Anxiety. I'm your host, Kelly McCormick. I'm a mom to 2 boys, a wife, friend, daughter, and sister, and I'm a certified life coach, yoga teacher, and soon-to-be mindfulness meditation teacher. I'm no stranger to anxiety, and I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and your emotions so that you too can transform anxiety into calm, peace, and whatever you want for your life. I'm so glad you're here. Hey there. Welcome in today, November. What's happening? I know it always seems so boring or pedestrian or whatever to talk about time and the weather. And I'm genuinely interested in both. Like how we experience time, and I like the weather. I don't know. I like that it changes. I like that there's seasons. I like that I don't know, there's just something like shifting and changing around us as we move toward these cooler, darker, just more quiet winter months. I always love these transitions of fall and spring. And we are in it now, right? Post-Halloween, which means everybody's about to blow up with holiday stuff. But, it's all right. It's all right. So, all right, today it's time for a back to the basics kind of episode where we talk about your foundation. That's what we're going to do today. Like, think of a house, any structure or building. Again, going back to the basics, right? These buildings, your house, they're built on a foundation. The foundation is the lowest load-bearing part of a building. And think about it. It's often below ground level, meaning you can't see it. So if we were to think about your foundation, the foundation of you, the lowest load-bearing part of you, and likely it's below ground level, right? We can't see it. And I like using words like foundation and support because it gets at what we're doing here. Like, how can I hold myself up? What can I rely on? What do I need to support myself when things are good, when things are not so good, when things are neutral? So we're going to talk about the foundation of you today, those really fundamental supports that help you, that hold you up, that make pretty much everything else possible. The stuff that's easy to ignore, for sure, right? It's all below ground level. Most of this stuff really is below ground level. It's not that sexy. It's not that glamorous. But if it's not there, if it's not sound and sturdy, the whole thing comes crashing down. So I also like to think of this stuff as the way to craft a sustainable life. Because again, without that solid foundation, nothing is possible. Nothing is sustainable. But with it, everything is available to us. So, basics, foundation. I want to remind you, again, think simply here. You are a living, breathing animal, and you have a body, right? This vehicle that moves you through life. I heard somebody once call your body your chariot. I really loved that, right? This is my chariot. You cannot outsmart these facts that you are not and never will be above these basic realities. Meaning there are some very basic things that you have to prioritize. These aren't even things that you need to prioritize to be happy and healthy. This is merely to make it. This is like survival level stuff. And I want to remind you of these things because I see people trying to route around them or shortcut through them all day, every day. Stop that nonsense. Here's what I mean. Drink enough water, get enough sleep, and eat the right foods for your body. This is where we're going to start. Most of us don't drink enough water, so drink more. And I want to remind you of a really cool anxiety hack that goes along with this. Sipping on water can actually help interrupt the stress response cycle, that fight or flight stress response that gets activated when your brain thinks something bad is going to happen. Like if you're sipping on water, it's very confusing to your brain. Think about this. If you're a wild animal and there's a lion chasing you, this is when the stress response appropriately gets activated, okay? The last thing that you're going to do in that situation is to stop and have a drink of water. You're either literally running or fighting for your life. Those are the only two options. So as humans, when we feel our bodies getting amped up, we can purposefully confuse that stress response activation by doing something like sipping on water. It slows the fight or flight stress response down and it keeps you hydrated. This is a win-win. All right, also, get more sleep. I know this isn't groundbreaking stuff, but we live in a society that absolutely glorifies being sleep deprived. People wear it like a badge of honor. Oh, I only slept 5 hours last night. Or I pulled an all-nighter to get this presentation done or to take care of the kids. Guys, no. Stop. Be willing to see that for what it is. It is horribly unhealthy. It doesn't make any sense. And whatever trophy you're trying to earn because you're all go, go, go and don't sleep enough, you don't want that trophy. It's a dysfunctional award you're winning if that's the way to win. There's a lot of science on the power of getting enough sleep. You know how it feels when you're fully rested. So figure out what works for you, time-wise, bedtime-wise, wake-up time-wise, what your body actually needs, and do that. Do that pretty much every night. Weeknights, weekends, you get it. Plan everything else around that. It's a non-negotiable. There are plenty of other places in your life that you can hone and that you can optimize and that you can whittle things down and see what kind of habits and patterns you can introduce. Sleep is not one of them to try to steal from or to try to, how can I just borrow or shortcut a little bit from here? Stop abusing yourself that way. All right, stay hydrated, sleep, and nutrition. Eating what works for you. The foods and nourishment that your body requires. And here, be willing to try multiple things. Some people thrive on a paleo diet, some keto, some vegan. Some do best with intermittent fasting. Some are vegetarian. Some are ovo-lacto-pescatarian. Whatever it is, find what feels good in your body. It doesn't really matter what the celebrities do, or your partner, or even some expert in one of those lifestyles. They don't have your body. So find what feels good and works for you. You can work with your doctor, Google, books, podcasts, any trusted and vetted resources that you can find. But treat this like it's your hobby. Make your health your hobby. Make your hydration, sleep, and nutrition your number one hobby. So quick side note here. I always kind of chuckle when people tell me they aren't into health. They're like, oh, I'm not a health nut like you are, Kel. You kind of have to be. It's like when people say they aren't into politics or money or communication. Like, listen, there are some things that are kind of required if you're an adult. You don't have to be into sports or music or art, but you absolutely need to find a way to engage with your health. You absolutely need to find a way to engage with your rights. That's politics. your stability and security, that's money to a large extent, and communication. That's your sense of belonging, relationships, family, all the other people you interact with. Can't recommend that highly enough. Again, these are foundational practices. These are the things that must come first. I know you think you need to get your to-do list done and your kids to soccer practice and that work presentation finalized, but I promise you, none of that holds a candle to your health. Your health has to be your number one priority, always and forever. Hydrate, sleep, and eat well for your body. Because let's talk again about the foundation. These are the building blocks of you. These are quite literally the pieces that hold you up. These things are your personal basement. So without them, nothing else matters. You can clean and organize and schedule till you're blue in the face. Won't matter at all. I don't know how many times I've gotten started with new students and clients, and they'll want to go straight to the biggest, most anxiety-inducing piece of their lives. And I will ask, how are you sleeping? Do you feel like you're fully hydrated or that you're balanced out food-wise? And they'll look at me like I have an extra hole in my head. They're like, what? What does that have to do with anything? Only everything. There is almost no point in us talking about transforming anxiety if we haven't addressed the foundation of you. If your basement, if your support is off, like none of the rest of it will stick anyway. I promise. I've tried. Like personally, I've tried to do this. If the foundation is too slippery, if it's not stable, everything you build on top of it will crumble. And it doesn't really matter if you like that these things are foundational or not. It's just true. Like, them's the facts. Yeah? Okay. So the foundation of you, it's built on these three basics: drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, eating the right foods for you. That's just what it takes to survive. That has to come first. And I'm going to be honest, most of us need to touch in here and practice. Most of us could get more aware and keep fine-tuning. This is something you could hone for years. This is not a one-shot. So be willing to reevaluate at different seasons of your life. When things shift and change, maybe depending on what you want, what your goals are for yourself. It's going to be different when you're in college than when you have a newborn, than when you're going through menopause, than when you're training for something significant or recovering from an illness or injury or grieving or struggling with anxiety. It's all going to change. The foundation is stable, but it's fluid, right? It's sturdy, but it's adaptable, all right? So from there, we start adding a few more elements on. These are like, think of these as secondary foundations. If water, sleep, and food are primary foundational elements, these are the secondary requirements that we're going to talk about. And those are movement, relationships, work or purpose, and joy. Now, these won't work as well if those first three aren't in place. I'm telling you. Nothing that comes after the primary foundation works in the long run if that primary foundation isn't at least in your scope of awareness. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? You just need to be paying attention. All right, movement. By this, I mean exercise. Walking, running, yoga, hiking, swimming, Pilates, tennis, lifting weights, what have you. Moving your body. Again, where anxiety is concerned, this is a really great way to actually help yourself complete the stress response cycle. So if sipping on water confuses your brain and interrupts the stress response cycle, exercise helps you to fully move all of that adrenaline and cortisol through your system and out so that your body believes, in a sense, that it's either fought or fled successfully, that the threat is over, that you're safe. Plus, I hear there are physical benefits to exercising regularly too. So, hey, that's a bonus, right? Yay. Also, relationships. Folks, although we talk a lot around here about taking care of yourself and becoming your own best ally, building self-confidence and self-compassion, we are not doing this thing called life in a silo. Relationships are crucial. Humans are social animals. We thrive when we belong to groups, communities, families, with friends. Caretaking for how we're interacting and being with the people in our lives is enormously important. More podcast episodes coming on this, by the way. But for now, just know that this is important enough to register as a foundational practice, something that definitely comprises the foundation of you. Okay, then there's work or purpose. Again, we could talk about this for a while, but turns out people like having a reason to get up in the morning. It feels good, to an extent anyway, to have others wanting what you have to offer, to have people needing you, relying on you to show up. And this can be anything. This can be having pets, to being an executive, to having children, to owning a business, to being an employee, to working with art or music or sports in some way. This can be anything. Do not let society or your family or whatever social media deems success to be. Don't let any of that distract you or take you away from your work, from your purpose. But find it. Be willing to try dozens of things if you need to. Work, play, engage, cultivate, imagine, create, but keep going till you find your jam. All right? And then lastly, joy. This is usually the last thing on our minds, isn't it? Joy. Again, this kind of runs the gamut. Don't pigeonhole yourself here. Belly laughs, great music, awesome people, games, puzzles, relaxing, traveling, cooking, getting out into nature, being on or near water, being with animals. There are a million ways to create joy in your life. Do not dismiss this one. It's a biggie. A life without joy is not worth living. So if water, sleep, and food are sheer survival elements, this is the one that makes it all worthwhile. Otherwise, what's the point? Right? Engage here. Again, try things and then try more things. Keep going. Surround yourself with whatever brings you joy. Not once a year, daily, weekly. Like, make this super regular. We're here. This whole podcast is about transforming anxiety, about feeling better, about living your life the way you want to, about cultivating a truly sustainable life. And that has to include the foundation of you. So I covered the basics here, right? Water, sleep, and food, because we forget. I know. And then that next tier, the secondary layer of movement, relationships, work and purpose, and joy. This is what creates the foundation of you. Everything else, thought work, meditation, mindfulness, compassion, patience, kindness, it all stems from here. And backwards too, right? Practicing these elements and solidifying your personal foundation is a practice in mindfulness and compassion and kindness, for sure. Like, it all starts getting interwoven here. But if you're serious about transforming anxiety, about creating a truly sustainable life that serves and supports you in doing whatever you want, feeling however you want, it has to start here. Yeah? All right. So this was a totally, completely fundamental back to the basics kind of thing. I will be back next week with more Transforming Anxiety. Please, please don't forget to rate and review the show. I'm so grateful for your amazingly kind words and feedback in the ratings and the reviews. It's so sweet. I love reading them. So thank you for those of you who have done that. And I will see you at the same time, same place next week for more. And until then, please take care. Do you have someone to help you with your stress, anxiety, worry, and overwhelm? If not, I would love to be your coach. The Fierce Calm Project is my virtual coaching program where we get to go in on topics like this one, and I can help you apply these lessons to your life so that you're creating your own transformation. We do live coaching calls, guided meditations, on-demand yoga classes. We hold book club where we read books your neighborhood book club won't, and there's lots of bonus content that I've created just for you. When you're ready to take what you're learning on the podcast to a whole other level, then come on over and check out the Fierce Calm Project at kellyhanlonmccormick.com/Fierce Calm Project.